Welcome back, gamers. In today's video, we're going to walk you through 100 games of Conduit to let you know if this is the legend choice for you or not. We'll break her down on whether she's a solo queue legend, a team legend, and what to know if this is a legend that you want to main in Season 20. First, let's go ahead and run through Conduit's abilities very quickly and in depth so you understand how to maximize this legend. Throughout this video, we'll have several clips that are indicating the tips and tricks we have for Conduit. So mind you, while we go through all these tips and tricks, we've got a little background gaming for you. However, the majority of the clips, I'll explain what's happening as it happens. Her passive Savior Speed allows you to get a 30% movement speed increase if you're 50 meters further away from your teammate. You'll get a little icon, you'll get that speed boost until you become within 50 meters. We got it on the screen here, but we're going to jump right to our ultimate energy barricade. When this ability is activated, Conduit's going to throw down 6 jammers that will hit the ground. These take approximately 4 seconds to prime and start to form an energy shield on the ground that damages enemies by 10 damage per second and slow them by 15%. These bad boys have 250 HP, so they can be killed. However, if placed correctly, it's going to be very challenging to get inside of a building. They can bounce off since they are projectiles, so they will go in a track record of 10 meters. So basically, they will not be 2 or 3 on top of each other. So again, place them properly, put them in a good position to help get your team that extra distance that you need. You can pause this real quick if you really want to read the entire breakdown of the shields, but I'm going to cover it very briefly and very quickly so you understand. As far as shield types, if you have a white shield, allies will get full shield from this. If you are on green, allies will have full temporary shield. Yellow, allies have more than 50% shield, and red, allies will have less than 50% shield. This tactical technically has 3 phases, so let's run through them real quick. During phase 1, the damage and broken shields are reinforced with temporary shields. This lasts for 8 seconds, and each tick, temporary shields are granted. Phase 2, during this phase, the temporary shields that were granted through phase 1 remained, but no new temporary shields are granted. This phase lasts for 30 seconds. And last, which is phase 3, the temporary shields decay. Any remaining temporary shields begin to decay twice as fast as they gain in phase 1. All temporary shields are gone. This means in total you have 3 full phases before the shields completely deplete, so you have plenty of time to use the shields to your advantage. Quick tip as well, you can see here I'm using the passive to get as close to my teammates as possible. I just want to tell you that. That's all I wanted to do. Now that you know the legend in entire details, let's walk you through my opinion of her in 100 games. Remember, these were 100 solo queue games, so essentially no comms with teammates. I wanted to basically learn as much as possible since I do solo queue and a ton of the community solo queues. I want to let you know the best way possible on whether this legend is a solo queue type legend or built more off of a team atmosphere, meaning you're playing with 2 other people with comms. First things first, let's go over some of the tips and tricks that I learned throughout the 100 games. You may have already heard this, but do not pre-shield any of your teammates. I will tell you right now, it does not benefit you as much as it does using this shield right when you start to take damage. This is the epitome of a support legend. You have to have excellent awareness when your team takes damage and be very quick with getting your shield to them and making sure that you're keeping them healthy. I want to stop right here and thank you so much for watching these videos we drop every single Sunday. We're coming up on hitting that 1,000 subscriber milestone, and that's all thanks to you supporting this channel every single day. Don't forget, we've got tons of legend reviews, tons of tips and tricks, and all of this is to help every person get better at Apex and be a better teammate. So thank you so much for watching. We release videos every Sunday, so don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe button right now. For someone typically who plays majorly aggressive, it's very challenging if you're not paying attention to really support your team as much as possible. I found out within the first 50 to 75 games, I just simply wasn't shielding as instantly as I needed to be or as accurately. I truly believe this is one of those legends that really has to have a ton of awareness on where your team is, where they're standing, and what their shields are like. I found it very challenging since I'm not that type of typical player to really get this within the first 100 games. I found myself being way too excited about getting an accurate shield on somebody when realistically I should have been using it 2, 3, 4 seconds earlier. And to be fair, there are a lot of times where I just simply didn't use it when it could have been used. I also found it while in solo queue to be very challenging with using it for my teammates. They just simply either were already way too dead, or B, they just simply weren't utilizing those shields to take that extra push they could have done. So frankly, I think you really need to basically play this legend with 2 other players with comms to get the most maximum performance out of this legend. Because again, in solo queue, if you have teammates without mics, it's just really hard to sync up that they get that extra 60 seconds to basically continue fighting. I did, however, find that her ultimate really provided a whole lot of extra support when it came to down teammates. Now again, in the open, it's going to be a little more challenging. If you're cutting corners and you're using terrain, you're probably going to pull that off. However, inside buildings, it basically made it almost impossible to push. As long as the first jammer hit the right side of the door, the second jammer hit inside the door to the left where it just couldn't be shot. So it basically stopped all of the enemies consistently from pushing 9 out of 10 times. So when you talk about comparing these to other legends like Catalyst, she just provides a whole lot more interior defense abilities than any other legend in the entire game right now. As far as ranking this legend in a team environment, she's definitely S tier. She has way too much mobility, way too much defensive abilities, and quite frankly, this shield in most cases early game is very important. While she may not be seen as much in ALGS because of the continued standoffs, in solo queue, she provides a ton of extra defensive and offensive abilities to help you win the game. I will say while playing this legend in both solo queue and masters and in lower ranked lobbies, it just became very challenging to get the maximum benefits out of her shield because teammates simply just don't understand this legend entirely. And so while their fully shields are being depleted and you're shielding them, they simply just sit back and take the extra shield battery, which doesn't maximize the uptime of the shield itself. With how fast-paced the game currently is, I just don't find her as a top pick in solo queue just because there are other legends that provide a whole lot better instant defensive or instant offensive abilities that just will help allow you to carry the game more if needed when playing in solo queue. So in closing, if you've not learned this legend yet, definitely pick them up as part of a kit. There's going to be select times where you definitely need to play them, and there's going to be times where you simply have a better option. Get to it, gamers. Let's game.